This is a message from your guides reading for serious business. Okay, I have 4 chakras here. I think one of these might be a group crystal. 3 of them are definitely just for your reading. Don't quote me on that group crystal one though, because this is the first Patreon reading that I'm doing today, and I'm not sure yet. Okay, so I'm going to use my malachite here to surround us in some protective space. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you my other crystals, and then I'll get into what is coming through. So this is my malachite. Like I said, this is really good for psychic protection, also really good for grounding. And then I have my green fluorite here. So this is the one, I think this might be a group stone, but don't quote me on that. And so this is really good for calming, for healing anxieties, even things like mental disorders or things where your mind is overstimulated. So this is very calming. It feels like a kind of an being overstimulated with your thoughts, having really excessive thoughts, and grounding that. This stone is also really good for grounding. And that feels like specifically for your reading, this feeling of excessive thoughts, needing to ground them and healing that specifically. And your guides are actually calling that a mental disorder, but they don't mean it in the way that you normally hear the word mental disorder. They're saying it that way because your thoughts are out of order. That's what they're saying. There is like a disorder mentally to all of your thoughts. They're disordered, and they're not observing things in a detached way, and really not caring is what gives you a detachment, and creating a barrier as well between yourself and others. So you were asking about setting a boundary, and if you have to accept this, doesn't mean that you don't set a boundary, and that's definitely the furthest thing from what they're saying. They're not saying don't set a boundary. You definitely should set boundaries. You shouldn't just let people walk all over your space. And they're saying that doesn't mean like give an attitude to people. Like there's really a time and a place for everything. There's definitely a space for everything. But it feels like you can especially create, obviously if you need to say something, then say it. But it feels like you can especially create a boundary mentally and emotionally just by not being affected, not allowing something to affect you. So you're very triggered by certain things, but your guides are also saying that that's part of the reason that you really need to go through this. You really need to have this experience because you are really triggered by certain things, and it's like you need to let that go. You need to be able to detach from that. So this can actually be a really enlightening experience. And you can trigger yourself to look at this in a completely different way if you allow yourself to. Because they're saying that you tend to look at things from a more negative viewpoint. And you're overly harsh with yourself. And you feel overly harsh, not just with yourself, but with your circumstance, including others in your circumstance, just kind of the overall circumstance and yourself included. So the main message here is really letting go and detaching and being in a space where you're not allowing something to affect you, which can definitely be easier said than done. Okay, I've got to still say my other crystals here. So I have a heart chakra stone here. This is my rose quartz, and my green fluorite here is also a heart chakra stone. This one has to do with relationships. It has to do with your relationship to yourself, also your relationship to others, and creating harmony with that, healing those relationships, the relationship again to ourselves and to others, healing that, creating harmony, comfort, bringing joy, healing. So there is a kind of therapeutic kind of energy with this stone. That's really what this feels like. It almost feels like therapy in a way. Okay, so then I have here my purple fluorite. So that's the last stone here. So I have 4 here. That has to do with creating a foundation. It also has to do with things coming into harmony, things kind of coming together and making sense. Purple fluorite actually has to do with both psychic protection, but then also with clarity, with mental clarity. So I'm definitely picking up on a thought form here. It's kind of flashing over here in the picture. So your guides are really making me aware of that energy. This thought form definitely feels angry. It feels resentful. It's easily hurt by things. It's easily triggered by things. Okay, so that's one way of detaching, is knowing that this isn't actually you. You're not actually the one being triggered. So you can separate yourself from the emotion. And really ask yourself, what are you actually feeling right now? Because this thought form is actually separate from you, and you're identifying with it when you're feeling its emotion as yours. And that's the way it's feeding off of you and gaining this energy from you. So that's another thing to be aware of to help you detach from it. But also looking at the positives of the situation, also understanding that this isn't going to be long term. This is something temporary that you're going through and temporary that you're doing. Yes, they were saying, look, no matter where you go for these specific certifications that you want, for this type of course that you want, yeah, you're going to have to deal with people and you're going to feel like this. But that doesn't mean that this is long-term or this lasts forever. This is something that you're temporarily going through because it has to do with the specific courses that you're taking. Once you do have certain certifications and you're able to free dive on your own and or whatever else it is that you are attempting to achieve here, you'll be able to do other things. You definitely have a connection with whales and dolphins. there are definitely other areas that you could take this. You could do other things with this that don't really involve so many people. Or also, even if you do work with a few people, it feels like you'll more resonate with them. You're going to end up finding where you feel like you fit and you belong, where you resonate with the people who are there. There are obviously always going to be some humans around you. But once you find the place where you really fit, it's going to be harmonized. So this is just, this struggle isn't something that's everlasting. And that's another way to help you detach from it. You just kind of have to go, okay, this is something that I need to do. I need to get this certification so I can do other things that I really love. Plus, this is some lesson that I need to go through right now that my soul is learning. So I accept that. This is another way of helping you detach. Because your guides, the way that they're viewing this and looking at this, think about this from your soul's point of view, from their point of view. This is literally like that. This is not some everlasting thing. This is like this is like a split second to them. This course that you're taking. It's like such a small part of your life. So you're giving a lot of your power to it, they're saying, but it's just this course. It's like, get your certificate and you're done with it. It's over with. Then you can move on to doing other things. Even if there were other things that did involve humans that you wanted to get before you could move on to really only doing what you love, still, this is just temporary. So, because this is just studying. This isn't you actually doing whatever your career is. It's just you studying for it. It's you studying to get certain certifications and different things. And honestly, a lot of that stuff, a lot of people don't really like doing that. So you're not really alone in not liking, taking a course and getting these certain certifications and different things. A lot of people don't really like school and studying or certain aspects of it. But it feels like it's very temporary. Okay, so those are some different tools to help you detach from it. I know you're going to get back with me with maybe other questions and whatnot. So thank you very much for another reading, and I will see you next week. Namaste.